Today is the 17th day in January 2025, and on this nice and wonderful Friday, I got some great motherfucking news for y'all. The FTC is on Jenshin Impact's ass. They cracking down on Jenshin Impact. Now, why am I repeatedly hitting the clap it up button? Why am I celebrating Jenshin Impact getting taxed and why am I celebrating the fact that Jenshin Impact has to pay a $20 million fine due to impacting children, and I tried to make the headline sound cool about how the FTC said Jenshin Impact had deceived children and ordered them or its publisher, whatever, to pay a $20 million fine and stop selling loot boxes to kids. But you know, I had to get it on my second try, and even then, that was a little bit shaky. So that being said, I want to read through this article and I want to talk about like this specific topic, because I'm always a person who has always believed in the idea that loot boxes are the fucking devil. Loot boxes are sin. Loot boxes are legitimately dead ass one of the worst things to happen to gaming. It's up there with like this push for every game to be a live service game because Fortnite made $1 billion. Everybody else wants to make $1 billion, which I can't really get mad at them, but this is not the way. Not every studio is designed and built to be able to make $1 billion live service game. Shit, keep it a buck with you. Some of y'all can't even make a live service game that makes $5-6 million. Some of y'all can't even make a single player game that make $5-6 million. And then they want to pop out the cut and make a gacha that's microtransaction and the fuck out of people and taking advantage of dark patterns. You're not that guy, pal. The FTC says Jenshin Impact deceives children, tens, and other players into spending hundreds of dollars on prizes they stood little chance of winning. I'm clapping it up because since Overwatch 1, I've been saying we need way more rules and regulations on this whole serving loot boxes to jitteries thing. We need way more regulations, and over time we've gotten a lot of those regulations. A lot of that stuff has been like pioneered, I want to say. I don't know the term for it, but like the leader in the charge is the European Union. Like the European Union, for anybody in the technology sphere, is like the GOAT, because they be making laws and rules that force companies like worldwide brands like Apple to stop engaging in like unfair competition practices, or to stop using archaic technology for the sake of doing stuff like making a walled garden. Like the whole law where the whole reason why iPhone charger slots and Android charger slots are now both USB-C. Yeah, that's because the European Union said, hey, you ain't gonna be able to sell phones nowhere in Europe, and no part of Europe, if you don't put a USB-C on the bottom of that phone, because they have a law over there that everything has to be USB-C compatible. So for the simple fact that you don't have to buy 10 and 15 cords, because before, for those of y'all who are watching this way in the future, before the FTC made that rule, if you wanted to charge an iPhone and you wanted to charge an Android, let's say you got an Android in your left pocket and you got an iPhone in your right pocket, you would have to put 2 different chargers in your pockets, thusly buying 2 different chargers, thusly upping the eco waste from whenever that charger breaks and you throw it away. You pretty sure you get the point. So that being said, they made it so that every device that's sold in a country gotta be charged with USB-C from whatever day forward. So the EU making revolutionary game-changing laws like that, I fuck with it. And now the FTC is on their ass too. Yes, let's get these microtransaction grindy ass games out of here. There's nothing wrong with putting some microtransactions in your game, but it's everything wrong with forcing people to gamble with real money for the microtransactions in your game. Fuck out of here. And then on top of that, y'all designing a game for kids. Like, I get it, the only people who game aren't kids, but let's not act like some of these developers don't do shit to specifically target kids. And the delts that come with it are the delts that come with it, but Sometimes they be targeting kid, and I feel like Genshin is one of those rare cases. Although Cognosphere has accepted the fine, it says that many of the FTC's allegations are inaccurate. A complaint filed by where do you see the second L? A complaint filed by the US Department of Justice alleged that the Cognosphere operated as Hoyoverse in the US, actively marketed Jenshin Impact to children and collected personal information from them in violation of COPPA rules. Okay, I'm gonna put it like this. All of these games gather data and information. So this is one of those things that's technically true, and is more so one of those anything we could catch them on, we're gonna use type things. I'm gonna put it like this. Some of the data that these games collect is non-harmful data, like for example the specs of the device you're using and like the processor and whatnot. If your game crashes, that's what you're sending in an error report. You're sending the log files for the game, and you're sending your device specs and like what sometimes a snapshot of how your device was. So for example, if your RAM was 70% full, it'll send a snapshot of your RAM saying, oh, the game crashed when the RAM was 70% full, the CPU was under 50% load, etc., etc., so they could get a good idea of why this shit crashed on your particular device and get an understanding to if this is like a reoccurring pattern or if this is like a just one-off case. So yeah, there's data being sent in that game, but do I think it's anything like what they imply when they say data all the time? Like niggas is sending your damn fucking social security? No. Deceive players about the odds and cost of winning prizes in loot boxes. Oh, they said them drop rates was wrong. They said drop rates was 1 in 100. They brought 200 boxes and still ain't get that shit. Let's talk about it, because that's a thing too that I've heard. Because you really got to think about it. At the end of the day, Hoyoverse is a microtransaction the fuck out of you corporation. So is a microtransaction the fuck out of you corporation, meaning they have no problem engaging in unethical things. Because like I said, for those of y'all who don't know what dark patterns are, I encourage you to do more research into it. But short version, basically these games have a whole bunch of crazy Jedi mind tricks that they do to trick you into spending way more money than you thought. Because you might buy 4 or 5 skins at $10 a piece, and because you're only spending $10 at a time, and like anybody you know with like a job, $10 is not that much. You spend the $10, spend the $10, spend the $10, and you don't think nothing of it. But then you get your credit card report at the end of the time, at the end of the month, and it's like, whoa, I spent $100 on this game. I was spending $30 on this game a week. Whoa. Excuse me. And it puts things in perspective, because when you're sitting there paying for it piece by piece by piece and you're piecing it off, you're not noticing that you're sending out $1,000, $100 million, because you're just pressing tap, 10 at a time, 10 at a time, 10 at a time. And they make the skins and the weapons skins and stuff like that, and this game looks so cool that you get into that mindset, well, I mean, this skin looks really cool, I want to have it, I guess. And then it gets even worse when like the different items you could get in the game can improve your gameplay, and then XP boosters and pay to win. It's a whole bunch of other stuff. Looking on your own time, look up the art of dark patterns in terms of like free-to-play games. Like it goes deeper than just free-to-play games, but I feel like free-to-play games, since a lot of us have experience playing a fuck ton of hours on various ones, I feel like it's good to watch a video about dark patterns on in video games specifically, because it's easier to understand because you already have a base understanding. That being said though, going back to this, yeah, it is illegal to collect information from minor individuals. Depending on what the information is, it starts at ends at between ages 18 and 13. So like under 13 you can't collect information, up to 18 you can't collect information, and then like depending on the specific information there's like sub ages in there. Like you can do it up to 16, you can do it up to 15, so on and so forth. Deceive players about odds and costs of winning prizes in loot boxes, and uses a challenging and confusing purchasing system that misleads consumers about the amount of money that players spend on loot boxes on an ongoing basis, and the amount of money that players would likely need to spend to obtain certain prizes. And then keep in mind, all the stuff I'm talking about is RNG. So that 1 in 1,000 drop rate chance, that doesn't mean if I buy 1,000 loot boxes, it's a 100% guarantee that I'm gonna get it. No, that means if I buy 1,000 loot boxes, it's a high possibility that one of those 1,000 loot boxes, I'm gonna get it. Let's say it's 50 in 1,000. There's a chance that if I buy 1,000 loot boxes, that 50 times I should get this item. That don't mean that it's gonna happen. That means that's what they set the drop rate to. That means that's how likely they set it. And I've always thought that's been a funky ass idea, because that literally turns the video game into gambling. Genshin Impact often deceive children, teams, and other players into spending hundreds of dollars on prizes they stood little chance of winning. And to add on to that, some younger kids, they don't understand the cost of money. So they see something that costs money, and because they're a little kid, they're just sitting there like, but I want it. Tap, 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 tap. And they just tap the purchase button, tap the purchase button, tap the purchase button, and it's taking money off of mommy and daddy credit card. And because, again, what do I always say? People carry around $500, $1,000 supercomputer in their pocket that they don't know how to use. A lot of people are technologically illiterate. You tell them go in their settings and forget their Bluetooth, they say, what the fuck does that mean? And that's a sin. That's on the simple side. Yeah, God forbid you tell a nigga with an Android to find their MAC address, and they say some dumb shit like, find my MAC address. What, nigga? I don't have any Apple products. Fucking God. I'm talking about your device ID, dipshit. What the fuck does Apple have to do with anything? So it's like, a lot of people, you'll be surprised how many people got their shit connected to their child's account, and they don't really understand what the fuck they kid be doing besides, oh, my son or my daughter, they love to pick up the iPad and play the Roblox all the time. They don't understand the money being spent on Roblox until they see it come out their account, and they got to get on their child ass when there's all these preventions in place that they don't know how to set up. But in the meantime, you press buy, you a little kid, so you press buy. You don't understand all the implications. You don't understand all the stuff that comes with it. So yes, crack down on these motherfuckers. Get on their ass. Like I always say, don't provide a free-to-play game if you're not ready to make it a free-to-play game. And that's like anything in life. Like, for example, if you want to go be a chef, right? Don't go be a chef if you get mad anytime anybody has a critique about your cooking. Because if you a chef and you making food for other people and they ask for alterations to your food and you give it to them with no alterations and they say, I don't like this shit is ass, you got to take that to the chest. You got to take that on the hop. They said I got high blood pressure. Don't put that much salt. You said, fuck this nigga. I'm going to put the regular amount of salt. Now this nigga over there all over the floor, seizuring, because you made their blood pressure too damn high. Because you put all that fucking salt in their food. So it's one of those things. Don't make a free-to-play game if you're not ready to make a free-to-play game. And a lot of these companies make free-to-play games not because they wanted to make a game and free-to-play was the best route to go for what they're making and what they're doing. They make it free-to-play because they know that if the game is free to enter, they could get more money on the back end from whales than they ever could if they charge $20, $30 to get in 70, 80, however much niggas want to charge. Said Samuel Levine, director of the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection. Excuse me. Companies that deploy these dark pattern tactics, keyword that I mentioned earlier, dark patterns, will be held accountable if they deceive players, particularly kids and teens, about the true cost of in-game microtransactions. Well, yeah. Not only let's especially protect the Churgamins, but let's make laws so that the people who aren't aware of stuff like this don't fall victim to it as much. Because like, you'll think that because people are adults that they can understand when they're being finessed or finagled, but nah. That's saying there's a sucker born every day. Real as shit. Dark patterns, also called dark design, is a term for elements of UI that are purposely designed to be deceptive, typically with the goal of tricking users into doing things unintentionally, buying stuff mostly. And you know, it's another part of dark patterns that I feel like doesn't often get discussed. The fact that games that engage in dark patterns, like for example Pokemon Go, that all the time while you're playing the game, they got all these crazy flashing lights and spinning items, and they're always giving you a reason where instead of clicking one button to do something that should only take one click to do, they have you click into a menu, and all the time while you're clicking into those menus, there's a bunch of stuff like, hey, buy this, hey, buy that, hey, buy this, we got a deal on this, hey, go follow our YouTube, go join our Discord. And they got all this other stuff that's supposed to get you wrapped up into their like social medias, so that when you're scrolling on Instagram, you'll see one of their posts, you'll like it and go, oh man, now I want to play Genshin Impact or whatever the fuck shitty gotcha game. And then you go back to playing their game, and the more you play their game, the more likely you are to see their ads and follow these dark patterns and buy something. This shit is devious, bruh. FTC cooked with this one. You cooked with this one. It's a growing concern in the video game industry. In 2022, Epic Games reached a over $500 million settlement with the Federal Trade Commission over a complaint that included allegations of dark pattern usage in Fortnite. Now, I didn't play Fortnite. I haven't played Fortnite much since like about 2020, 2021. So correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I remember, Fortnite didn't engage in dark patterns. Over a complaint that included allegations of dark pattern usage in Fortnite, and attorney Eric Weiss told PC Gamer in 2024 that game makers should be exceedingly careful with their designs because of increasing FTC vigilance. And you know what's the crazy part about all this? Now that I think about it, for normal people, a fine is a deterrent from doing something, because normal people, we have limited money, we live paycheck to paycheck, so on and so forth, right? So for normal, average, everyday persons like you and me, getting a fine is like, oh my fucking god, it's so annoying. For them, they look at that as a business expense. So just like if you were shooting a movie and you had to pay for a permit to shoot a movie outside in a park or something like that, they look at it as a business expense. They look at it as that's what it costs to keep doing it. And that's the craziest part of this. So I really think that some of these fines be too light, but setting precedent is what gotta happen first, and then really cracking down and flopping your dick on these niggas' shoulder every time they fuck up, saying, yeah, it's time to get down. That's what gotta happen. Dark started a sentence off with a conjunction. Dark patterns are out there in the wider world too. In 2023, for instance, the Federal Trade Commission filed a complaint against Amazon for using manipulative... Oh, don't worry. Click to cancel. Click to cancel. Click the motherfucking cancel. That bitch went into effect January 1st, 2025. Click to cancel. Make that shit as easy to sign out as it is to sign up. Anyway, manipulative, coercive, or deceptive, blah blah blah. Under the terms of the settlement, which must first be approved by a federal judge, Cognosphere will pay $20 million, nothing for them. That's how much they make in a day. That's like somebody charging you $50. And you'll be like, oh, that's it, $50? Here, take that shit, nigga. $20 fine, and make the following changes to Jenshin Impact. Children under 16 will not be allowed to purchase loot boxes without parental consent. There's already systems in place to set that up. And this is what I was saying, like the other day with Nintendo games, for example. Sometimes systems are put in place not to be good. They're put in place just so people can say they're there. So for example, the trusty old, are you 18 years old or not? Nigga, you don't have to be 18 years old to click I'm 18 or older. You just have to be able to read and go, oh yeah, let me click the I'm 18 or older and get access to whatever 18 plus content on whatever 18 plus website or activity you're engaging with. Like, it's there just so legally they could say we have something in place. It's not to actually do anything. All loot boxes available for purchase with virtual currency will also be made available for direct purchase using real money. That's another part of dark patterns. They make you buy coins in the game, and then once you buy the coins in the game, they'll make it an odd amount so that you have coins left over. So let's say, for example, an item in a game costs 600 coins, and 600 coins is $6. They'll make it so that the lowest bundle you could buy is, I don't know, I said $6 for the skin, 6, 4, that's 10. They'll make the lowest bundle in the game 1,000 coins. So that you buy 1,000 coins, you buy that skin for 600, now you got 400 coins left over. But the cheapest that a skin goes is $6, 600 coins, and you got 400 left over. What does that mean? That means they make you go, well, I mean, I might as well, get another 10,000 and then have more coins and then buy more skin. It's a pattern designed to loop you and make you spend more and more and more. And also, what did I say earlier about the casualization of making people spend money and make people want to go and hit the button over and over? You gotta take it out of real money, because if you leave it as real money, people are gonna notice every time they're spending. Like, if you go in the game and it says pay $5 for this item, you're gonna be more hesitant to spend than if they say, oh, pay 5,000 goobity got coins, pay 5,000 bang bang shoot 'em up anime game coins. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, let me spend 500 bang bang shoot 'em up anime game coins. And like, a common thing that they do for these games is they make it possible to get everything in the game without spending money. But niggas will sit there and play the game for 5 years and not have shit in the game. Okay, buddy. Loot box odds and exchange rates for multi-tiered virtual currency will be accurately disclosed and not misrepresented. This one I haven't personally seen, but not gonna lie, I could understand why they would do it. Tell people it costs $5 for 600 coins. They go to buy 600 coins and $10 disappear out their account. Any personal information collected from players under the age of 13 will be deleted unless permission to keep the data is obtained from parents. All COPA regulations, including its notice and consent requirements, will be complied with. And for those of y'all who don't know COPA, I should have said this earlier, but long story short, the idea of COPA is it's a set of laws that protect children on the internet. Now, it gets deeper and more specific than that, but as a general vague understanding, without going into and being Mr. Fake Lawman, Mr. Daytime Lawyer, Mr. Nighttime Lawyer nigga man, that's the basic explanation. COPA is a bunch of laws that protect kids on the internet. Jenshin Impact is a popular free-to-play anime-style game designed for older teens and adults, Cognosphere said in its statement. Yes, but kids will get access to it. While we believe many of the FTC's allegations are inaccurate, we agreed to this settlement because we value the trust in our community. So they basically said we don't want the bad PR of trying to fight this and looking like liars. Because we know damn well we did that shit. We're just not going to admit we did that shit. And we're just going to say, hey, we accepted this for PR purposes. Not the worst thing in the world. We agreed to this settlement and share a commitment to transparency for our players. Under the agreement, we will not introduce new age. Oh, I thought it said not, my fault. We will introduce new age gate and parental consent protections. Basically, it's going to be a slider that says how old are you, and you put a year and your age. That's what it's going to be. For triggermen and young teens, and increase our in-game disclosures around virtual currencies and rewards for players in the US in the coming months. Yeah, hope this happens more often. Patterns. Crack all the way down. Crack your knuckles and get the beating the brakes off them with the lulls. Now that we